against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Breaking news, culture, matic warfare. We'll be your guide through the separation of money and state. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most watched Bitcoin only live show on YouTube, Rumble, and X. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. Very interesting, developments. Look, guys, all of this is happening a lot quicker than I thought it would. But crazy news coming out of Arizona. And remember, look, no one's better than their incentives. And as soon as politicians start holding Bitcoin themselves, it's game, set, match. And what was introduced yesterday was that Arizona Senate considers adding spot Bitcoin ETF to the state's retirement portfolio. Now, let me ask you something. If this gets added, right, if every senator, and this is like a known fact, right, every senator really kind of has exposure to BlackRock, has exposure to these like giant Fortune 500 companies, they're not going to act on their own, self-interest. Like they're not going to vote against themselves, right? Like this is kind of how we win. And then another kind of troubling trend as well is it seemed like, and here it's very, very blatant, and this is something that we've been saying for a couple of months now, it seems like a certain political party is just not for Bitcoin. Like it seems like this is becoming partisan, which is really weird because this is not a partisan thing. Bitcoin helps all sides, right? It's the most equitable money the world has ever seen. It doesn't matter where you are. You can download a Bitcoin wallet if you're in Afghanistan, wherever it is, right? You can download a Bitcoin wallet. It doesn't care. It's not discriminatory, or however which way you say that word. And in other news as well, it seems like more online censorship. I think this is, the continuing trend of governments trying to maintain their monopoly on information, which continues to just, slip through their hands. And you have the TFTC channel. We're a big fan of Marty Bent and his content. And of course, the Rabbit Hole Recap. Amazing podcast. It seems like Marty's channel and Mark Moss's channel, which we had on Simply Bitcoin IRL the other day, got labeled as climate denial content. Very, very interesting. Also, this isn't just happening in the United States. Apparently, there is a law that is being introduced in Canada called Bill C-63. And apparently, it's just to kind of read you guys this. It is a discriminatory practice to communicate or cause to be communicated hate speech by means of the internet or any other means of telecommunication in the context in which the hate speech is likely to foment desecration or vilification of an individual or group. But here's the problem, right? Which is like, who defines what hate speech is, right? Wouldn't you say that the party in power is going to define what hate speech is and potentially use that to go after their opponents? And remember, guys, when we break it down in the most simplistic way fashion. If you're not allowed to say what's on your mind, if you're not allowed to speak your mind, what makes you think these politicians, these bureaucrats are going to be okay with you transacting freely, right? Free speech is the front line for Bitcoin. If we lose free speech, we lose the freedom to transact. So it's really, really important that we cover these events while they are happening. Also, during the culture segment, we have a very special guest. We have the CEO and founder of Bitcoin. We have Adam O'Brien on the show. How you doing, Adam?
Man, I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good, man. Dude, what the hell's going on in Canada, bro? These speech laws are nuts.
Buddy, it is out of hand how draconian things are getting here. Like we saw it. I mean, it's been right in front of our eyes for so long. We saw it with the truckers in 2020. We saw it with the vaccine mandates in 2020. It's just not going to stop. I mean, we've got the perfect storm to like overnight become some inhabitable wasteland where we have a banking monopoly, we have a media monopoly. Like we are just poised to evaporate soon. And thank goodness for open source protocols like Bitcoin that give, the normies a fighting chance.
100%. Yeah. Protocols like Bitcoin, protocols like Nostr, freedom enabling technologies, thank God for them. Because if not, like, this isn't looking like a bright future. But don't worry, guys. When all things are failing, we have a spy. We have someone to go in there and try to, seduce that central banker, that politician. And of course, talking about Optimus Fields, he is 0 for 5 right now. He's tried with Yellen. He's tried with Augustin Carson, but he's going to succeed one day. Have you tried with Trudeau, Opti?
Trudeau would like me. I already know that.
We'd love you.
I have not yet. Adam, I need his digits, bro. I need the digits.
Yo, I don't think he likes me very much. We actually on April Fool's last year, we made like a joke, and we said that we were going to make a cryptocurrency called Trudeau, like TRUDO, like however you spell dough. And then we made a follow-up video where I just said Trudeau is a joke, but like obviously, that's the prime minister who is a joke.
Oh my God. Yikes. Oh my God. But I mean, Opti, you're not 0 for 5. You have Christine Lagarde, right? You could be proud of that.
It's a numbers game, guys. You win some, you lose some. It is what it is.
Oh my God. All right. So Opti, what are we going to talk about during the culture segment? We got some giveaways on the show today, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, we're going to do another live giveaway with Adam. He's going to update us on the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest with Bitcoin Well and all you guys signing up. He just kind of ran over some of the numbers with us, and you guys are signing up in droves or troves. And man, it's going to be good. So we're going to do a live one. Adam came on, showed us some of the back end stuff. He's going to nerd out with us. Remember when I had to do a giveaway, guys? It took me forever. Adam just wrote a script real quick, and it's going to be dope. I think you guys are going to like this. So stick around. We're going to do a live giveaway, and then we'll update you guys on everything going on with Bitcoin Well.
Yeah, and when you said script, it's like a coding script, right?
Yeah, actual script.
Like a really, really fancy script. Adam, could you explain how the winner is going to be picked? Because I thought it was fascinating when you were showing it to us before.
Yeah, man. So I was chatting with some of the team and stuff, and we were like, we got to find a good way, like an actual good way to give away the Bitcoin jackpot, which right now is north of 2.3 million sats, which is so sick. And so we were, there's like put names in a hat and pick it out, but that's like physical barriers. And so knowing that the block hash is random, as everybody watching hopefully knows and now knows, the block hash of blocks are random. We've got a script that takes the block hash, assigns a decimal to the last 6 integers or digits of the block hash, and then applies that to the total number of entrants, which then just spits out an entrant. And so it's pretty cool. We'll do it live on the show, because the first one, like the passport, that like random one, like we've got, boom, someone's getting a passport. Someone that entered between when the contest opened and yesterday is getting a passport, just straight up. So we're gonna pick that person today, and I'm gonna email them later, and passports coming their way. So shout out to the collaborations of the Simply Bitcoin community, man. I love working with these guys. And just a little bit of a forward-looking thing. One of your sponsors is also coming in a pretty big way for the prizes coming up. So make sure you enter the contest, man.
Ooh, man, I'm excited. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be announcing the winner of the Passport by Foundation devices, and so many prizes along the way. All right, guys, let's jump into the numbers. But before we do that, I do want to give a very, very special shout out to our flagship sponsor. And of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin Well. This is the best place to build your self-custody stack. It's a publicly traded company coming out of Canada that recently expanded to the United States of America, all 50 states. Help us make self-custody by default the standard in the US, only brought to you by Bitcoin Well. And they also have a contest going on. Enter the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest. The jackpot is over 2.1 million Satoshis. Each entry adds sats to the jackpot. If you're an existing user of Bitcoin Well, go to the rewards section to enter the contest. If you enter the contest today, you'll be entered to win a signed copy of Hidden Cost of Money, a book by Seb funny, go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. 10% of that pot is going to a geyser project, but you need to vote. It's pinned to the top of the Bitcoin Well Twitter. So go to the Bitcoin Well Twitter right now. Also check out the Simply Bitcoin Twitter. It's all there. If you guys want more details about the contest, go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. Of course, check out the Bitcoin Well site. It's free and automatic withdrawals, fast account verification. I could testify to that. It's very, very quick, and it's 1% fees and nothing else. And guys, the most important part and the reason that we love Bitcoin Well the most, it is self-custody by default. Self-custody is the revolution. If enough people take self-custody, we win, and there's absolutely nothing they could do about it. Go to bitcoinwell.com today. All right, everybody, let's check out the numbers. Here we go.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, guys, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You can scan the QR code right now, take you directly to the Stamp Seed website where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. Store your generational wealth properly. Check out Stamp Seed today. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 67,720 sats per dollar, 1,477 block height, 833,607 blocks to halving, 6,393 halving estimate April 19, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity 4,395 Bitcoin. Capacity value $297 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation 1.74%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin 1.33 trillion US dollars. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 9.65%. I heard that once it breaks 10%, there will be a teardrop coming down Peter Schiff's face. Anyways, quick news update, breaking news. I'm highly concerned about my co-host. I did see him tweet this out this morning, and he says, I won't tell anyone I'm part of the new wealthy elite, but there will be signs. I am highly concerned Opti will turn into Scarface. Anyways,
dude, look at this guy's thriving. What are you talking about?
I feel like Opti will disappear. I'm highly concerned. Okay, all right. In other news, so look, we all kind of have to remember, we have to kind of zoom out and understand what is happening right now. There's a fundamental shift in the world, something that was predicted by one of my favorite books, I think a book that all Bitcoiners should read, which is The Sovereign Individual. The rise of information technologies is liberating individuals from their governments, from nation states. And I think a lot of the censorship, a lot of the hostility towards Bitcoin comes from the fear that, you know, these politicians that get a tremendous amount of power from being able to create money for free that everyone else has to work for. There's a fear that they're losing that privilege, that power, right? And, you know, there's a couple themes, though. There's a couple things that you have to take into consideration, which is, remember, we have better incentives. And like we're seeing with BlackRock, this is an institution, you know, that a couple years ago you would associate it with the World Economic Forum, you know, don't own anything, be happy, ESG, all of that stuff. And then fast forward, you know, Larry Fink, to quote him, said that Bitcoin is like nothing better than an index of money laundering. That's literally his exact words. And then a couple years later, you know, he's using all the Bitcoin talking points, you know, on legacy financial media, right? Why? Because Bitcoin's incentives stay winning. So through this transitionary period that we're all living through, some people like to call it the fourth turning. Some people just like to call it, you know, the transition from the industrial age into the information age, whatever you'd like to call it, it's really important to kind of see what is happening in a historical perspective so that you can stay on top of what's happening, right? You can not only arm yourself with the tools in order to reach financial sovereignty, or reach sovereignty in general, and also help the people around you, right? So, help your parents, help your wife, help your children, help your husband, the people that perhaps aren't, technically savvy, or they just don't care. They're distracted with the bread and circuses. I always remember that meme of the guy with the barbecue. He's like grilling some steaks, and then, you tell him this crazy stuff like the money's stealing from us. And then he just looks at the person. He's like, so did you catch the game last night? There's people that are like that, right? And they could be your friends, they could be your family. It's up to you. Take action, take agency, and help those people. Be that Uncle Jim in your family. Anyways, here's Hillary Clinton, and here she is saying the quiet part out loud. This is a old clip, but don't worry, I'm going to connect it with a new clip that actually Jeff Booth said at Bitcoin Atlantis in Madeira. By the way, incredible conference. Highly recommend it, guys, if you haven't been. But let's check out this clip from Hillary Clinton.
And then one more area that I hope nation states start paying greater attention to is the rise of cryptocurrency, because what looks like a very interesting and somewhat exotic effort to literally mine new coins in order to trade with them has the potential for undermining currencies, for undermining the role of the dollar as the reserve currency, for destabilizing nations, perhaps starting with small ones, but going much larger. So when we think about this new environment in which we find ourselves that we've been discussing for the last some minutes, we can't just think about nation states. And then one more area that
So I'm going to stop it there. It's on a loop real quick. And I just got to say what Hillary Clinton was saying. She's absolutely correct. And I'm ringing the Bitcoin well rings the bell to signify that Hillary Clinton is correct. And she also said something really interesting as well. She mentioned the word exotic. So going back to this is what Opti is going to be doing when Bitcoin hits $1 million. And once he gets his face scratched off by a lion, Simply Bitcoin is not paying for that. So Opti, be very, very, very careful. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke, YouTube. I mean, it's a bad joke. I'm a dad now, so I tell bad dad jokes. Anyway, so what is happening, right? And again, this is what the sovereign individual predicted. This is exactly, what is happening in real time, and it's extremely exciting. And I just got to say this to Hillary Clinton, and, for the record, I did not suicide myself. I think it's a good idea, right, that, there is alternatives to fiat money. I think it's a good idea that, the power base of society isn't necessarily in the hands of unelected bureaucrats or bureaucrats in general. I think it's a good idea that the power base of society is in the hands of entrepreneurs, in the hands of builders. And I think that as long as, the money is in the hands of the state, I just think that you're going to have what we have today, essentially. So I just kind of want to read a couple of these passages. And it says, new technologies will allow the holders of wealth to bypass the national monopolies that have issued and regulated money in the modern period. Their importance for controlling the world's wealth will be transcended by mathematical algorithms that have no physical existence. In the new millennium, cyber money controlled by private markets will supersede fiat money issued by governments. Now, what are the benefits of this? It says it too. Genius will be unleashed, freed from both the oppression of government and the drags of racial and ethnic prejudice. In the information society, no one who is truly able will be detained by the ill-formed opinions of others. It will not matter what most people on earth might think of your race, your looks, your age, or the way you wear your hair. In the cyber economy, they will never see you. The ugly, the fat, the old, the disabled will vie with the young and beautiful on equal terms in an utterly colorblind anonymity on the new frontiers of cyberspace. And that's only possible with something like Bitcoin. So when you hear Hillary Clinton the way that she's phrasing it and the way that she's phrasing it and saying it as if this is a bad thing, the way that Christine Lagarde is basically calling an alarm and saying, listen, without central bank, the worlds are going to, catch on fire. Without KYC, AML, everything's just going to spontaneously combust. You have to remember that, they're really trying to protect the status quo, right? What Bitcoiners are fundamentally fighting for is that we understand that no human being should have the privilege and the ability to create money for free that another human being has to work for. That's what Bitcoiners believe. And we also believe that people should have the ability to do their own research and get to decide what information they want to consume and what information they don't want to consume. No bureaucrat should have that power. And I think the last, 10 years have shown that bureaucrats, governments have continued to abuse that power for their own gain. And you could make a really good argument that, I'm just going to say, I think, there is certain situations where if government did absolutely nothing, I think things would have turned out better. Now, with all that being said, and I'm going to end it with this, this is an election year in the United States, right? So it's a very heated political environment. But Jeff Booth is dropping the sauce right now. What do you do as a Bitcoiner? Well, what Nico says, I'm sure what Adam will say as well, what Opti will say, number one thing you could do is buy Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, and take that Bitcoin into self-custody, right? That's number one thing you could do. But what is thing number two? I'll let Jeff Booth tell you. Let's check it out.
So think about what happens when people march down the street, break windows, turn over cars, light cars on fires and everything else, and then go back home to sleep. Where did the money come to fix all that stuff? And it came from their actions making the system stronger. And so when you're fighting within that system, when you're yelling at your tiny little divide, whether it's climate change or political party, you're actually strengthening that entire system over you. And this is something that was, I'll talk about it on Sunday, but this is something for me that I realized that probably long after Jack realized, but I was a hypocrite in Bitcoin because I had a hedge in Bitcoin, but I was spending all my energy in the existing system. And that was a really hard moment to realize that. And as soon as I shifted all of my energy into the new system, it was just abundance everywhere, and you guys are part of it. And so, I suspect that can't be stopped because more and more people are going to see it, and more and more people are doing the same journey that we all did. And they might be at step one of that journey, but they're all coming over eventually. And that every one of those people make the existing system weaker over them. There is no system of control if you don't believe it.
I 100% agree with Jeff Booth, right? There is no housing crisis if you've been on a Bitcoin standard. There is no political divide if you're a Bitcoiner. There is no left and right. There is no conservative versus liberal. None of those things matter if you're a Bitcoiner. These systems of control, right? These divisions, I call it the divide and conquer strategy that, nation states and governments, people like Hillary Clinton telling you, yes, let's increase the taxes and give, governments absorbent amount of money, allow them to print money out of thin air, and that somehow is going to fix, the climate. These problems that they kind of have to create to gain more power, to justify the printing of money and debasing everyone else's who's holding that said money. Jeff hit the nail on the head. Opt out. So it's an election year this year. And the most important thing you could do, it's your duty as a Bitcoiner to vote. But you know what the most important vote you can make is? Taking Bitcoin into self-custody. And you know where the best place to do that is? bitcoinwell.com, because it's self-custody by default. Anyways, Adam, what's your take on this? I mean, dude, you've been around a while. I found this in the merch box, by the way. This is my Bitcoin Well bell.
Cowbell.
I'm not giving it away. It's mine now. But what's your take on this, man? Because I fundamentally agree, right? Like the housing crisis thing that we talked about it on yesterday's show. There is no housing crisis if you've been living on a Bitcoin standard. Right? Like housing has gotten cheaper. Maybe on fiat terms, it's doubled. But if you've been living on a Bitcoin standard, there is no housing crisis. There is abundance everywhere. There is optimism. I think it's if you've been living on a fiat standard, if you're still thinking in fiat terms, right, there is nihilism, right? There is lack of opportunity. There is, all these terrible things, that come with living on an inflationary money, right? So what's your take on what Jeff said? What's your take on what Hillary Clinton said?
Bang on, man. I mean, I cannot count how many times I have said housing is a liability and not an asset for exactly the reasons that we are saying here. I think it's incredibly important that we almost decouple ourselves from, like, it is fun to watch number go up, obviously, but we have to realize that it doesn't really matter. Like, the only reason you track number go up is so that you can sell, that thing for more fiat. And then what do you do with that fiat? Like, people all the time. I mean, I've been doing this. I've been talking about Bitcoin for 10 years. And so everyone in my circle, everyone even outside of my circle, like, if one of my cousins has a guy that wants to learn about Bitcoin, he just hands him my number, which is like, sometimes gets a little annoying, but I'm the Bitcoin guy in all of my circles. And they all ask me, oh, when are you going to sell? This is insane. You've been buying Bitcoin since it was $100. And now, like, in Canada, it's $90,000. Like, when are you going to sell? It's like, what would I do if I sold? Like, why would I sell? Like, what am I going to do with it? Put it into, like, the bank? Well, I can't do that. Am I going to buy stocks and bonds? Like, that seems a little silly. Like, why would I sell my Bitcoin unless I am to consume? And that's the difference between the investing and the savings mindset, is when you are saving, you save in order to consume in the future, which is literally what Bitcoin is designed to do. It's designed to save the value you create with your time and spend it in the future. Like, whatever, renovate your living environment, to go on a trip, to, like, support or provide for your family. Like, these are the things that we're supposed to do. Invest in the business, invest in the economy. Like, this is how we're supposed to live and how our money is supposed to work. Instead, what we have now is this incredible fiat casino that literally everybody, 100% of people, with the exception of Bitcoiners maybe, have been indoctrinated into thinking they need to participate in. If your money is in the bank, it literally loses money. Hard stop. And so we are forced to create an environment where our fiat grows. And then that mindset is so toxic and so bad, and it creeps into everything. It creeps into rushing decisions. It creeps into, like, the majority of scams that we see are only because people are petrified of holding fiat, and they are forced, or at least they think they are forced, into giving their money to someone else who is smarter. We have such an unhealthy relationship with money, and Bitcoin is here to just fix it all. And we are, like, obviously, you got to be focused. You got to have the drive, the proof of work to go and educate yourself. But yeah, like, just opt out and do it. Get out of that mindset of number go up. 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin. Purchasing power is where it's at. But so what? Like, it's great that number go up, but you should still just focus on staying humble, stacking sats, with the exception, of course, of pet cheetahs, machine guns.
Let's go
in the morning for you and you alone, Opti.
Hey, well, Adam, I actually got a question. Oh,
wait,
go,
Adam said something really important, which is everyone, asks him about Bitcoin. So I'm going to put it up on the ticker. DM Adam right now on Twitter and ask him your questions about Bitcoin. Go right now and blow up Adam's Twitter. Follow his Twitter right now at Adam O'Brien _. Check him out. He is the Bitcoin.
I cannot wait to see the questions.
Bitcoin OG, CEO of an amazing Bitcoin on-ramp. And Opti, what were you saying?
Yeah. So we
when
get
are you gonna start wearing cheetah
soon.
Just pets, bro. Why would he kill his pets to wear the skin?
This guy has never had an animal in his life. Anyways, Adam, we get flack in the chat a lot about pricing Bitcoin in fiat terms. Do you think this is you think this is an anti-Bitcoin viewpoint? Is this still a fiat mindset? What's your thoughts on this?
Nah, listen, fiat is the only way currently to properly gauge purchasing power. And I think that, like, we could price it in lattes or in, like, what did we say the other day? We were going to do pizzas.
Pizzas.
Last time I was on the show, we did houses yesterday. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, but like, there's just nuance to all of that stuff. Like literally the reason money exists is like dating back thousands and thousands of years is because it's impossible to put a real value behind services and goods. And so, our ancestors, the humans of yesteryear, provided or chose like scarce gems and things to be able to price things in. This is 1 gem, this is 3 gems, this is 4 gems. And we've just devolved. Our money has just devolved over the last, few thousand years to the point now where it's kind of impossible to price anything. Like especially in Canada, if you look at the difference in purchasing goods and then coupled with the quality of those goods, like wood, like timber, lumber in Canada is more volatile than Bitcoin at this point. It's absolutely insane. And so I think we need a central unit of account to kind of at least pretend to think about purchasing power. But I don't know how else you would do that if not like the general unit of account. I mean, you could probably try human hours, but everyone's hour of labor is going to be different values. So kind of hard to do. I think we do have to price it in fiat, but like remember the market price. Like let's just check our time preference for a sec. If the market prices things in fiat, and then we are celebrating when fiat goes up, you could also the market doesn't dictate when you sell your Bitcoin. So if you are a Bitcoiner and your Bitcoin is savings, like the short-term market cycles will kind of determine when you do or do not spend your Bitcoin. And so if you're really hungry to like go on a nice family vacation, or you got to like whatever, your house needs some fixing up, or like maybe you need a chair or two, you probably shouldn't spend sats when they're too cheap. And so you can celebrate like, oh, awesome, my purchasing power is increasing. But I don't know that it's just like this arbitrary number. It should be, in my opinion, just savings. And when your savings have purchasing power, you are maybe a little bit more liberal with your spending, knowing full well that it will punish you in the future. And if it doesn't punish you directly, it will punish your future generations, because that family vacation this year could have been 5 family vacations next decade. And understanding and finding that balance is part of being a Bitcoiner. It's the sociological kind of insight to yourself.
100%. Yeah, and that kind of like forces you to think long term. You start thinking differently because all of a sudden, exactly what you said, that family vacation, upgrading your laptop, right? That's going to cost you, twice as much, maybe 10 times as much in the future.
Dude, look at this. My phone, I'm not sure if you can see this. My phone is literally like, there's a green line on it because the screen is like cracked. And I've been dropped it. It's been in water. Like, it's unbearable. Using that in the dark is like very sore to my eyes. But I'm just like, it's fine. Like, I can still message and like, get stuff done and like whatever. It's good to go.
All right, Nico, let me pop in here I want to respond to this Hillary clip because I absolutely love this. Like, I love when people like Hillary come out against Bitcoin because, when they FUD Bitcoin, when the very people that are the problem start FUDing Bitcoin, it just reminds me of how right we really are and that we're actually on the right track. I know everyone likes to FUD Bitcoin, and there's times when people bring up some points and you're like, oh, maybe we always got to check our premises. And when I see stuff like this, I constantly say it reminds me that we are on the right track. It's when they get scared and they start FUDing Bitcoin, it really, really makes me confirmed that we are right. I don't know what this thing's going on the bottom, but anyways, I also want to kind of regard something, destabilizing Bitcoin destabilizing nations. Isn't that her job? All right, YouTube, that was a joke. I just love exposing their hubris on the show. It's my favorite pastime. And then to Jeff Booth's point, life's just better on Bitcoin. You can see it here. You can see it even by the name, the meme of Optimus Fields. Like, Bitcoin provides you a better life, and the fiat world is full of nihilism and decay, and Bitcoin is full of hope and freedom and prosperity. And it's just such a better life on the Bitcoin standard. And then, just one last joke here, Nico, before we get fully nuked off YouTube. I love that cyber economy quote from the Sovereign Individual because I think like I'm a living example of this. Like, this is a face for radio, and yet we have a great YouTube show. No one cares what we do. We just show up and provide value, and people love what we're doing. And it's just like, yes, we are the vanguard of the new future, a brighter future, an orange future. And everyone out there that watches and stacks Bitcoin and spreads the Bitcoin signal is a part of that future. And it feels good to be a part of like the right thing, being on the right side of history.
100%, man. It's a very, very bright future ahead of us. It is going to be kind of a bumpy transition, but we are going to win this thing. And the way that we win this thing is more individuals taking self-custody. If enough people do it, we will win. I do want a shout out to our new merch drop. It just dropped right now, guys. We teamed up with Opti. How do you pronounce the artist's name? Because I butchered it.
Shouts out Asanoa.
We got multiple. We got shirts. We got hats. We got ladies merch as well. So go right now to the Simply Bitcoin shop. You can scan the QR code. You can check the link in the video description. This is a limited drop, so there's only so many pieces. You have to get yours while supplies last. So scan the QR code or check the link in the video or podcast description. All right, everybody, let's get to news. We have a lot to talk about. Let's check it out. Here we go.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for some reason, it's Opti on screen. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Foundation Devices website where you can get yourself a Passport hardware wallet. We will also be announcing the winner of the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest, where we gave away a Passport hardware wallet. Also, by the way, guys, in case you missed away that giveaway, I was talking to Adam this morning. We will be doing giveaways, for the next couple of weeks, different Bitcoin merch, different books, all this stuff. It's really, really exciting. All you got to do is you enter the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest. So go right now to bitcoinwell.com/contest for more details. Adam, the current jackpot right now is at 2.3 million Satoshi. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. I think it's probably more than that now, which is pretty crazy. We only update the contest jackpot every once a day, so it kind of just grows like a lot, which is awesome.
That's crazy. So guys, go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. Not only are you entering an opportunity to win Satoshis, also help the Bitcoin community, all these geyser projects, and also an opportunity to win some Bitcoin stuff, hardware wallets, backup things, books, all these awesome prizes that we will be announcing in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, quick ETF update. Ladies and gentlemen, between all the platforms, there's almost 500 live viewers. So if you're enjoying the show, make sure to smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos. Smash the like button, smash it on Rumble, on YouTube. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, BlackRock almost has. Yeah, look at that. I refreshed it. you know how big that jump was? I refreshed the page. That was yesterday's page. Okay, I refreshed it live. It was at 183,000 Bitcoin, and it jumped to 187,000 Bitcoin. So that literally BlackRock stacked 4,000 Bitcoin in 24 hours. Fidelity's up to 115,000 Bitcoin. Again, reference, Sailor MicroStrategy has 193,000 Bitcoin. So BlackRock is like knocking on the door, and it took Sailor, years to accumulate this position. Of course, BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world. This isn't BlackRock's Bitcoin. This is all their clients, that are buying the ETF to get exposure.
Whoa. Let's be very clear. That is BlackRock's Bitcoin.
Yeah, okay.
If they choose to give it back to their clients, then they will.
Well, let's if we're gonna go down that route, let's be very clear. It's Coinbase's Bitcoin, right. And then let's be even more clear. It's the U.S. government's Bitcoin, right?
Boom, 6102. This has 6102 written all over it, man.
So there's definitely, there's a rabbit hole there. It's that meme of like the big guy, like, it's like the small guy first, it's the bigger guy and the bigger guy behind it. Opti, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? The memes of like the smaller guy, then there's like the big guy behind it. There's like the even
that's
bigger
the Undertaker
guy.
meme. Yeah,
exactly. The Undertaker meme. So like really it's like it's BlackRock's Bitcoin. No, it's Coinbase's Bitcoin. No, it's really the US government's Bitcoin. So yes. Anyway, so quick ETF update. They're gobbling up all this Bitcoin. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is, guys, if this starts to happen on a massive scale, we win. And I think this is a pretty big, historically, it's a big deal. It doesn't really have a chance to pass just because of the political environment in Arizona. But the fact that this is being introduced is a big deal. And of course, what am I talking about? Arizona Senate considers adding spot Bitcoin ETF to the state's retirement portfolio, right? Now, if this passes, right, all of a sudden, right, this isn't, federal senators, but this is state senators, they are starting to benefit from number go up. Once they start benefiting from number go up, do you think they're going to start voting against their own self-interest, right? So this is Bitcoin's incentives kind of going from the ground up, like it's grassroots. It's kind of infecting, and I say that like in a nice way. It's like, really the way that I see Bitcoin is just like, it's like this AI really that's like captured, the human beings' greed. And, it's like, it's captured humans beings' greed to ensure its survival. And like, what do I mean by that? Kind of like rabbit hole conversation. And when the China mining ban happened, right, without any central party CEO, anybody like telling, these Bitcoin miners to relocate, they did it by themselves because of Bitcoin's incentives, right? The mining difficulty, it adjusts, right? Bigger mining rewards. If you're an entrepreneur, you're like, wow, there's a profit incentive there. So it's like this thing had this network, this protocol, this, whatever Satoshi created, right? This rudimentary AI has, captured humanity to ensure its survival. In the process, it gives humanity hope. It gives humanity optimism. It gives humanity prosperity, back. But in the process of this, it's kind of moving away the old guard, right? And what is the old guard? The old guard is like the evil alliance between politicians and central bankers. And you see them coping. You see them, like Christine Lagarde is saying, we have to regulate this thing out of existence. Jamie Dimon is saying the same thing. Our favorite anti-Bitcoin senator, Elizabeth Warren, saying the same thing. Brad Sherman, right? So many, they despise this thing, right? Why? Because, it ends the racket. All of a sudden, the central bankers have have competition. The government money has competition. And you know what? The competition is better. And the reason that I say that is because every single time they talk about CBDCs, they always conveniently leave out the reason as to why people are seeking an alternative in the first place. It's not more efficient payments, right? That's what they tell you. That's what the ECB tells you. That's what they're telling us here in the US. People aren't seeking more efficient payments. What people are seeking is better money. And that's exactly what's happening. So this is pretty historic. Again, let me read this from Watcher Guru. It says Arizona Senate considers adding spot Bitcoin ETFs to the state's retirement portfolio. I respond. I quote tweeted it and I said, when politicians, regardless of party, start benefiting from Bitcoin's incentives, it's game over. We are winning. Now, something really interesting happened, right? Which is, apparently it did pass very, very, by a very low majority. It's not going to be, it's unlikely to get signed into law, because according to Dom, and Dom's really been on top of this, it's going to get vetoed by the governor. Now, quick observation, and you guys know we don't lean left or right, Republican or Democrat, but you'll start to see a very interesting observation. And I want you guys to connect the dots with the current bill that is introduced by Elizabeth Warren, the anti-Bitcoin bill. 17 of those 20 senators that are signed up to Elizabeth Warren's bill are Democrats. All these people that voted against this are all Democrats. None of them, it's very strange, right? So Republican voted yes, Democrat voted no. It's, by the way, it's RD, RRRD, RD, RRRD. So it's almost like it's becoming a partisan issue, and I don't think it should be a partisan issue, number one. And number two is, it's weird because, you would think that the Democratic Party, would stand for, equity, it stands for, the opportunity, it stands for the little guy, but it just doesn't seem like that is happening. It doesn't seem like, I don't know what's going on there. It's very, very strange. So, what's going on? I don't know. I can't comment on that, but it is an observation. Why is the Democratic Party, why are they against this thing, right? Joe Biden, right? He has the infamous, Operation Choke Point 2.0, right? We had it not too long ago, right? Where the current Republican candidate, Donald Trump, is going out and saying, I'm anti-central bank digital currency. You had Vivek Ramaswamy. You had Ron DeSantis said, if you elected me for president, right, I'll protect your right to self-custody. You have RFK Jr., who said the same thing, but he bowed out and he became an independent. So, my question, if you're a Democrat and you're a Bitcoiner, is why are they against this thing? I don't understand, right? This isn't a partisan issue, but it's looking like, certain parties are voting on political lines. This is very, very strange. Also, coming out of Arizona too, talking about, the shifting Overton window. Here's Blake Masters. He was running for Senate. He did lose his race, but he had something really, really interesting. And check this out. Masters has also called for a federal Bitcoin reserve. So more and more very, kind of mainstream politicians that are, competing to be elected into the, the top offices of the country are, mentioning Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin. It's being talked about in political discourse, right? This is very good. The Overton window is shifting, but I am a bit concerned because, I am starting to see a partisan trend, which is, that's kind of strange. That's kind of weird because Bitcoin, Bitcoin's neutral. Bitcoin is for everybody. Bitcoin, isn't just for, someone on the left, someone on the right, someone in Africa, someone in Russia, someone in Antarctica for whatever reason you want to live there. But yes, it's for everyone, right? Bitcoin is for everyone. This is what Bitcoin's all about. So it just kind of concerns me that, there's certain political parties right now in the US that are somehow against that. And are their constituents aware that they're against that? Like, are their constituents aware that they are, actively trying to sabotage, the adoption and the spread of Bitcoin? And of course, we don't know that for certain, but, we know Biden is pro CBDC. We know the Biden administration has taken a very anti-Bitcoin stance. We know Elizabeth Warren's stance is, we know the vast majority of people who signed up to Elizabeth Warren's bill. And here you are in Arizona. It's literally divided by party lines. So what's going on? If you're a progressive, if you're on the left, if you're a Democrat, I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, because this is this isn't just a coincidence anymore. This is a trend that I'm starting to see, and it's becoming very, very apparent. And I just don't want this to become, a partisan thing. Anyways, Adam, what's your take on this, man? Because in Canada, I've seen the same thing, right? You have Justin, some people call him Castro Trudeau, and then on the other side, you have I don't know how Pierre Poilievre. I can't pronounce his name. Poilievre. Okay.
Pierre Canadian.
There we go. And he's super pro Bitcoin. So
kind of.
Okay, kind of. Okay.
He was. Actually, I got to have dinner with him kind of at the early part of his Bitcoin journey. And he didn't know much about Bitcoin, but he obviously cared about sound money. And when you explain Bitcoin to someone who knows a lot about sound money and about the importance of sound money, it was just boom, click, he got it, understood what Bitcoin was. And then you can time it almost a month later, he goes on his Bitcoin speech. This is in the last bull cycle. And then you can see as Bitcoin goes up, he's a hero. And as Bitcoin starts coming down, he kind of took a step back. Then it was blockchain. And now it's just been evaporated from his policy altogether because it gave the other side a political attack based on the short time preference cycle of the price of Bitcoin and fiat dollars. So it's it is absolutely what we have done, or what we have been exposed to, is the globalists and the communists projecting the negative image of riches and wealth onto society. And so it doesn't matter. All the freedom aspects and stuff are blind to people because they associate freedom with wealth, and they associate wealth with evil and bad, which obviously is not true, right? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because if it were not for the wealthy people, we have one of the best children's hospitals in the country. I think actually in the continent here in Edmonton. It's called the Stollery Children's Hospital. People all over, the province, the country come here for the best children's care possible. Nobody really knows that Jim Stollery is a ruthless capitalist that made piles and piles of money and donated, lots and lots of money to get this hospital up and running. It's literally not possible without capitalists and wealth in the picture. And your taxes aren't going to pay for that. Your income tax, your GST would have to be 95% to get a hospital like that. Instead of, we've got these philanthropic capitalists that want to do good for the places and communities that they care about. But we have somehow decoupled, the good things that capitalists do for the world, the value they provide for the world, and we've turned it into wealth is bad. This is why I'm so skeptical of housing, of savings accounts, these registered 401ks, or in Canada, RSPs, TFSAs. It's right now we're already seeing a shift of, being rich is bad. We should eat the rich. Well, only rich people own houses, so we should tax property owners more. Being rich is bad. We should eat the rich. Well, only rich people have savings. We should tax savings more. And how far does this go? And so I'm not wildly surprised, but I think the saving grace here is that the pendulums always swing. We've seen this throughout history, right, left, back and forth. Eventually, and probably it's going to happen at a state level first. Eventually, the pendulum will swing such that the left have a censorship moment, right? The right had it. That's why the right is a lot more on top of the Bitcoin game right now. The right's being censored for a number of different rings, getting debanked, getting money frozen, getting harder and harder to have I wouldn't even call it a right-wing view. It's just getting harder and harder to have a specific viewpoint. But once the left gets that same censorship, and it will happen, of course it's going to happen. Once being a climate alarmist is deemed illegal, once being, I won't bring up any of the controversial topics on the left, such so that we don't get into a pile of trouble. But the idea that the left will never be censored is a fallacy. And once they are censored, once the banks take a certain approach, the governments take a certain approach, they're going to need freedom money. And to your point, Bitcoin is literally agnostic. It does not care. Do you have do you have a private key and a public key? You're good. You can use it. I don't care what color you are, or what race you are, or what gender you are, or what your viewpoints are. It's here's money that anyone can use and anyone can access. And so it will take generations to get there. And it's not unlikely that the pendulum swings. There's a real chance that the pendulum swings the other way And then the opposite effect happens, where it's the right voting against Bitcoin because it will give the left more ammo. As soon as we escape the system, like we talked about with Jeff Booth at the start of the show, as soon as that gets out of our heads and we're just like, doesn't matter right or left, get out of the arena, like get out of this little tiny box that they've put us in and just proper look at the world through the eyes of someone that wants to produce value and save time. I mean, that's how we win. It's, I think it's a no-brainer that it, of course, it's party lines right now. I think that will shift over time. And it only comes because everyone needs freedom money.
100%. Beautifully said. Everyone needs freedom money. And I love the fact that you brought that up, how the pendulum swings, because you hit the nail on the head, right? We lived through a moment in the US, the McCarthy era, where it was the left that was censored, right? So and I think this is what Bitcoiners fundamentally understand, is that like, no one deserves that power of censorship. No one deserves that power of being able to debank another human being, whatever their ideological views are. This is why we call Bitcoin the money of enemies, right? You have to be okay, even with your worst enemy using Bitcoin. And that's the world that we're living, that we're marching towards. And I think it's going to be a much better world if no one has that power, including the bureaucrats. As much as that they would like you to believe like we need that power in order for society not to break down and burn, I think they're wrong. I think they're really wrong. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this before we move on to the culture?
Well, of course, Nico, they gotta instill fear in you so you give up all your rights. We already know the playbook. Anyways, I think this is a good example of what we constantly talk about on the show, is that you win the political war by winning the cultural war. And as you can tell, more and more of us Bitcoiners are not only becoming Bitcoiners, but are becoming vocal and talking about Bitcoin. And I forget what it was, but last year when we were covering some news story, the mainstream media themselves acknowledged the fact that Bitcoiners as a voting bloc are the most powerful voting bloc. And so I know, look, I'm not the political guy, I'm a talking head, right? So like, I'm not the guy to be in politics, but I think this is a great example of the importance of Bitcoiners getting involved in politics. And I know us Bitcoiners hate politics and, it's fiat games, and even everyone in the chat's like, I'm tired of talking about politics. But this just goes to show that if you do get involved and people hear your voice, and again, let's not fall for like the fallacies of like your votes matter or whatever, but the fact that the average person is waking up to Bitcoin, and the more people hold Bitcoin, the less chance they have of actually installing some kind of bills or things to hamper Bitcoin. And on that note, shouts out to Kaz, our boy Bitcoin Kaz. He on Twitter last night posted that he had like a dinner with some Oklahoma politicians. So like Bitcoiners are getting involved, and hey, this is where we're moving forward. Maybe we have a Bitcoiner become a president in the US soon. Ooh. Like it's coming. We already know that there's candidates talking about Bitcoin. And, on that point, again, not to get too political, but we try to differentiate ourselves here from the left and right paradigm. It is freedom or it is fiat tyranny. It is orange versus green. But it's very interesting that as Bitcoin being the money of the people, the very party that claims to be of the people is not embracing Bitcoin. Like the hypocrisy is over 9,000, but Bitcoin is global. It doesn't care. So love seeing people basically cut themselves off at the kneecap and hamper their own prosperity. And this is all we're trying to do is like, hey, prosperity is good. Living a good life is a good thing. I don't think we should literally tear down society so that we're all on an equal footing. It's like, no, let's improve the living quality of everyone by literally, inventing cool stuff, saving in Bitcoin. And on that last note, to Adam's point, capitalism is good. Capitalism has brought us this whole beautiful world we live in. Everything we enjoy is because of capitalism. Government has one job and they don't do that. They only destroy. And here we are. We're dealing with the decay.
Oh my God. All right. So we do have a comment from Rumble. I'm going to pull it up. Here we go. Baron Liberty says, will Nico ring the Tinkerbell after his rant? So Opti has, the NFT soundboard, a digital board.
Wait, hold on. NFT.
I have a real life
cowbell,
soundboard.
baby.
And it's the Bitcoin well rings the bell. So anytime, you know, Opti has an epic rant or someone has an epic rant.
That's going back to our Alberta roots. We got a bunch of those when we went public, and we were gonna get like a bike bell, but I was like, wow, we need a cowbell. And so we got little tiny cowbells.
Oh man. Well, I think it's by the way, is absolutely awesome. It's an hidden gem. I had no idea. I went to this town called Banff. Guys, check out Banff.
Okay, quickly, everyone needs to check out the video about unicorns in Banff because it is one of the funniest videos you will ever see. It's like 35 seconds. Opti, maybe if you want to find it, we can. It's a.
What's it called? What's it called?
Just
we'll pull it up in the Bitcoin well.
Unicorn in Banff.
All right, we'll pull
it's epic.
we'll pull it up during the culture, but yeah, I mean, if unicorns are real, they would exist in Banff because
wait, I got it already. I already got it.
Like,
look at this.
Like a magical town. Crazy. Okay, here there we go. Oh my god.
This guy, it's really funny. You should just Google it and watch it on your own because the sound is quite hilarious.
So we go to Banff. On the way home, we find a unicorn. I thought unicorn was so extinct, but unicorn live in Banff.
Unicorn live in Banff.
It's gonna eat long time before it mows this grass. Goodbye, unicorn.
Oh my god, bro, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah, okay. So yes,
Banff is dope.
Magical things happen in Banff. I could attest to that. It is a very, very place. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Kaboom. They're the most trusted place to buy, sell, host mining equipment. You can check out their racks by scanning the QR code on your screen or check the link in the video description, and that'll take you directly to their Telegram marketplace where you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. You could also sell your Bitcoin mining ASICs with Kaboom Racks, access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your mining equipment with them. This is where I personally buy my mining equipment. Check out Kaboom Racks today. All right, everybody, let's hit the culture. We have a lot to talk about today. Let's check it out. Here we go.
The Daily Culture.
All right, guys, I also want to give a very special shout out to our other sponsor, Bitcoin Evangelism. We have to orange pill 10 million people. Bitcoin Evangelism by Brian DeMint is an absolute beast of a resource for orange pilling no coiners and all coiners alike. This is a book for Bitcoiners who know Bitcoin but have a hard time explaining it to their friends. It's a book for Bitcoiners who are trying to explain Bitcoin only to all coiners. It's available on Amazon right now. You could scan the QR code or check the link in the video description. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about Bitcoin well. We got to talk about the giveaways. We're going to be announcing the winner of the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest passport giveaway. We're going to be doing that live right now. Really, really excited. Adam wrote a script and everything. It's absolutely badass. Opti, I don't know where to start.
I didn't write it. Just the team, like, we wrote it. This is a group effort. Just want to make sure I'm not like taking undue credit here. But yeah, it's cool. This is how we're going to pick the big jackpot too, which is going to be awesome.
Okay, before we get to that though, Adam, let's just go over the Bitcoin jackpot one more time for the people that are watching that maybe didn't see the last time you were on. So what is a Bitcoin jackpot contest? What can they win? And then we'll go into doing the drawing live.
Okay. Bitcoin jackpot contest started at 1 million sats. Right now it's at 2.3 million sats. And it grows every time somebody enters. And so I'm like, I love 50-50, and I wanted to design a contest that is like similar to that. So what we're doing is 69% of the jackpot, the total jackpot, goes to, the grand prize. 21% goes to a secondary or an alternate prize, And then the last 10% that exists goes to a project on Geyser. There's a poll right now. We're going to do probably 3 or 4 polls, depending on the timing of which project's going to get that. We're going to just tally up all the sum of all the polls. There's 3 projects that are in the running. So go vote for which project you want to get the last 10%. I mean, like the 3 numbers just are so good. Like 69, obvious, 21, obvious, and then 10 is like nice and round. So it just works so well.
Where can people vote?
Bitcoin.com/contest.
Where can people vote? Where can people vote, Adam?
Oh, on Twitter. Bitcoin at the Bitcoin Well on Twitter. We've got a poll there right now. So there's 3 projects. One is Block Hunters, one is Bitcoiner Freelance Market, and the third is We Are All Satoshi. Look at my screen. Balloons everywhere. We Are All Satoshi, which so those 3 projects, I've linked them on Geyser. The Twitter is linked on Geyser, and there's a couple votes, I think, literally 2. And so we're gonna run this for like the next month, basically, until the contest closes. We're just gonna keep re-upping the poll.
Here, I'll retweet it right now from the Simply one.
I already retweeted.
Oh, okay, cool.
Last night, Opti. All right, guys. So you guys go to at the Bitcoin Well right now, and you can vote. It has all the kind of the information here, and you guys could check this out. This is what you're referring to, right, Adam?
Yeah. If you go here, let me. There's the poll. The actual poll is live. I think it might be just featured on our page.
Here.
Yeah, there you go.
Here it is.
There you go.
Boom. All right. So the poll is live. There's 6 days left. There's 6 days left. Which Geyser fund do you want to win 10% of the Bitcoin jackpot? I'm going to go with We Are All Satoshi because that sounds already badass. And it seems like most people have agreed with me. So guys, go check out this poll right now.
I dropped in the chat too.
And go to at the Bitcoin Well and vote for your favorite project out of all these 3, and they will win 10% of the 2.3 million Satoshi jackpot right now.
And growing. I want to get this. I'm not kidding. Like, let's get this jackpot over 10 mil. Let's see if we can hit it. Every time someone enters the contest, more sats are added to the jackpot. I think a $10 million, we call it a sat pot, would be like unreal. That'd be just the best.
Oh, okay. We're gonna change it. We're gonna call it the Sat Pot. Hopefully, Opti does not win it, so he doesn't go. He doesn't.
You know what, though? Like, straight up, there can be zero. There's like 0 ways that we can game this. Like, it's just Bitcoin determines the winner. Like, the block hash is what determines the winner. It's just unreal.
Okay. All right.
If Optins, so he will disappear. This is what will happen.
I won't even disappear. I'll be off the grid. All right, Adam. Let's get into today's giveaway. We're gonna do it live. So I'm gonna pull up your screen right now.
Do it live.
And let's tell people. What was the deadline? You were telling me. I think it was February 17th till yesterday. I believe is the drawing winners.
Yeah. So
applicants.
This is one of the just one-off random prizes. So Passport was super awesome. They came in, they're like, we want one of the entrants to get a passport. I was like, super sick. So you guys have been saying for the last couple weeks, enter the jackpot, and then someone who enters in that time frame is going to win a passport. So anyone who entered from the beginning of the contest until yesterday, March 6th, is in a list, and there's entry number 1 through I've got the notes, 1,363 entries that happened in that time frame. And so as we go on the list, what we're going to do now, and wait,
Adam, sorry. Entries means signing up to Bitcoin Well so you can stack some sats.
Yeah, that's how you get points, and then you enter the contest as many times as you want in your Bitcoin Well account. So
let's go.
I brought this up here at bitcoinwell.com/contest. This is how you earn points. But what I wanted to draw the attention to is you can literally just click this button and it will bring you to the script. So this is how we're going to choose right now who is going to get the passport. We're not going to announce them on the air because I don't want to dox them unfairly, but I will ask their permission to either give their well tag or their Twitter handle or something, and then we'll go from there. But this is going to tell us, we're going to take the block hash, and it will tell us which entrant is the one that gets the prize. So how we're going to do that is we're going to pick the last block, the most recent block. Let's refresh for good measure. So block 833614 is going to determine the winner here. Let's be clear, this is not for the jackpot. This is just for the passport. So I'm going to copy this hash right here. We're going to run the script. Enter the block number hash. There we go. How many entries are there? 1, 3, 6, 3. You guys can see that. And then, but voila. Entry number 456 is the winner. Congratulations.
That's a good number, 456.
That's just like a beautiful number. And so we're going to populate them on here. So I was wrong. I calculated this wrong the other day. But we're going to put 13s, 1, 3. We're going to keep this all pretty transparent. So we're going to mark down that it was block number 833614. That's determined. And then like literally anyone can just go and verify that. So yeah, if you want to check us out, make sure we're not like a bunch of scammers, then please do that. We're not. And yeah, congratulations, entry number 456. So I'll go on my sheet now. I'll like go down, and the person that like the 456th entry is the one that that's who gets it. Congratulations. And I'll reach out to them and off we go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
okay.
Congratulations. Entry number is 456.
I'm going to write this down to make sure I don't forget.
In case you guys did not enter this contest, Bitcoin Well will be giving away a lot of other stuff. If you guys sign up today, you go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. It's your opportunity to win a signed copy of a book by Seb Bunny called Hidden Cost of Money. So if you guys enter right now, bitcoinwell.com/contest, it's an opportunity to win that. And also in the next couple weeks, we'll be giving away other prizes as well. So definitely stay tuned. And again, guys, when you enter the jackpot, when you enter the contest, that jackpot keeps rising. The jackpot is currently at 2.3 million Satoshis. And remember, guys, not only do you have an opportunity to win the jackpot and win all these awesome prizes. Oh, by the way, the details of the contest are all in the video description if you guys have any questions or concerns. But you're also giving back to the Bitcoin community, because 10% of the jackpot is going to a geyser project, of which you guys get to choose which geyser project you want that donated. But it really seems like the one who's taking the cake right now. We went from 3 votes and we're up to 17 votes right now, 18 votes on the poll right now, and 77% of you, 77.8% of you have clicked "We Are All Satoshi." I have a feeling that I think you guys just like the name of that project. That's what my gut is telling me. So Adam, I do want to ask you some questions about Bitcoin Well. So you guys, you're founded in Canada in 2013. Opti, what is going on there? Thank you, sir.
Restream's acting weird.
Yeah, Restream always changing stuff up in the back end. There we go. I'm getting addicted to this thing. I'm like, this is more dangerous than Opti with the soundboard. Okay.
Wait until your child can walk around and ring. I have so many of those all over, and it is like it's an anthem in our house, man.
Oh man, no, maybe I just put it around like so I always know.
That's what the cows have. That's the way.
That's so funny. And then when Opti's at a conference, I'm gonna put it on it.
So you keep tabs.
I literally I always freak out the night after. So then the morning.
Dude, don't dox me like that.
Because I'm like, oh my God, Opti's, out on town. Like when we were in Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas, I literally would wake up at like 7 or 8 in the morning.
6 a.m. Are you in bed?
Are you alive? Like every single time. Because him and Tatum would just disappear. I'm like, oh my God, what is going to happen? But Opti,
I'm a professional.
I'm going to know how to find him now. Okay.
I'm pro.
Anyways. Okay. So Adam, a lot of people are new, and I'm seeing this in the comments of our shorts and our videos, and people are asking about Bitcoin Well. Why Bitcoin Well? And what would your pitch be as a CEO? So I'm gonna say it from Simply Bitcoin's perspective first, from my personal perspective, and why I love you guys and really aligns with our ethos, right? And I'm not just saying that; like it really does, because self-custody is the revolution. Like we truly believe that if enough people take self-custody, that's how we win. If we want people to achieve true financial sovereignty, not Coinbase, BlackRock, sovereignty, actual sovereignty. The way that you do that is by taking self-custody. And a lot of people have questions. So if, they're using, an on-ramp that, they've been using for a while, why should they make the switch? What is your pitch for them to use Bitcoin well?
Yeah, if you're using an on-ramp that you've been using for a while, ideally you are already taking your Bitcoin into self-custody. And if you're not, that is exactly why you should be using Bitcoin well. And if you are, it is to support a company that fully believes in self-custody. The problem with the human condition is that we're like water. We're the path of least resistance to the end result that we want. Very few Bitcoiners truly look at Bitcoin like it is freedom money. They look at Bitcoin like number go up, kind of just fiat gains, and off they go. They want price exposure, not freedom exposure. And so the difference between Bitcoin Well and, every other platform in the States and most other platforms in Canada is that we do not hold customer Bitcoin ever. At no point in time can a customer leave Bitcoin in our possession. And I think this is exemplified by you absolutely 100% need to have a Bitcoin address in your Bitcoin Well account before you can transact. We don't let you buy Bitcoin unless we know where to send the Bitcoin that you buy. And I think that very small, simple, but important distinction is the difference between a fiat company that happens to sell Bitcoin and a true Bitcoin company. And that's the direction of Bitcoin Well. We exist to enable independence. We don't exist to make you rich. We don't exist to get you max fiat gains. We don't exist to help you buy a Lambo or show off to your friends that you can have a boat. We exist to enable independence, to help you gain money that will earn you and benefit you and your freedom and your family's freedom and the next generation's freedom down the line. And so it's like, who do you want to support? A fiat company that happens to sell Bitcoin? Bitcoin's just a widget to the majority of these companies. They don't truly believe in Bitcoin as a freedom tool, but we do. And specifically I do. I have personally been attacked by the banks. I am banned from every single bank in Canada. I know what it's like to be, exposed in this fiat system. And I know how dangerous that is. And the second you realize how dangerous it is, it's too late. And so we have to be proactive. We have to allow people to force people to learn about self-custody in the future. Because honestly, the biggest barrier to our business is self-custody. It's harder to manage every single aspect of the business. And so if we did end up partnering with someone to custody the assets, it would have to be completely third party. Giving up self-custody is bad, but there's also a case to be made. And you've talked about this, about you're the Bitcoin guy, your parents, your grandma, whatever, they're uncomfortable holding their wealth. For those people, they should not be holding their Bitcoin with the person that sells them the Bitcoin, right? We talked about incentives. We have to decouple the incentives. The only reason FTX blew up, was able to blow up like that, is because they held and sold customer Bitcoins. The only reason your coins are exposed to Coinbase is because they hold and sold customer Bitcoins. Whenever you give up custody, you are exposed to the incentives there. If you want to, you can use, and there are companies that do decent third-party custody of your Bitcoins. That's a reasonable middle step. That's in my opinion, the absolute baseline, front line of how, if you are not taking self-custody, that is the bare minimum that you should be doing. It is absolutely catastrophic to buy and hold Bitcoin in the same place. That is historically speaking, we have seen this time and time again. If you buy and hold Bitcoin in the same place, if you get lucky and you don't lose your coins, you are actually supporting and enabling others who do. You are responsible for the FTX collapse. You are responsible for the Mt. Gox collapse, for the Quadriga collapse, for all the other collapses that will come in the future, because custodians are reckless. Because when you combine the incentives of selling and holding Bitcoin all in one spot, it becomes a catastrophe. And so just don't be responsible. Do not enable that level of nonsense, and use Bitcoin well.
Love it, man. And you know, that came straight from the heart. That literally, you know, that's the pitch, right? What differentiates Bitcoin well from everyone else is the fact that you guys are self-custody by default. And I love that. Like that's really what's going to move the envelope. And that is a painful business decision, right? Because that is the narrow path. You know, that is the less convenient path. The more convenient path would be just to, you know, incentivize self-custody, but, you know, you could still leave your Bitcoin on the exchange, but you don't really change things. And another thing also, Adam, that I admire about your guys' company, it's something that, you know, I've currently have experienced. This is going to be my 4th year with Simply, is you guys are bootstrapped. And, you know, I know how difficult that is, but this is your baby. You know, this is your money on the line. This is your, you know, essentially this is your neck on the line, right? So, you know, and by being a bootstrap company, what a lot of people don't realize, and not to be specific or anything, you don't, how do I phrase this? Let's say you don't have as many ties and things that you have to do that you might not necessarily want to do.
I think what you're trying to say is I don't have to touch other people's balls to make decisions.
This is my kind of CEO.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you made that decision. You know, you've told me the story, essentially how you got a loan from, you know, your girlfriend, who's now your wife's father, to start an ATM business at first. That eventually became Bitcoin Well. So talk to us about, you know, why you decided to take the bootstrap approach. And I'll put it to you this way, because I've been approached by you know, the oh yes, but it's never free money. It never is. But why have you decided to take the masochist route? Because it really is the masochist route. It really is. It really is the painful route, at least in the beginning. I know you guys are public now, and, you know, there's a little bit of capital infusion there, but, you know, the first couple of years, I'm sure that you've gone through some moments, or at least I have, which is like, you kind of wake up and you're like, either am I doing this right? Why am I doing this? I kind of feel like a moron, and then it kind of compounds and you're like, wow, this actually worked out. This was a pretty good idea, you know, but you go through, you know, all those different kind of feelings and emotions, especially, you know, if you're not working with other people's money, which is, it allows you to hire more people. It allows you to perhaps put more money in marketing. Perhaps it allows you to grow a little bit faster. Why did you decide to take that route?
Yeah, I mean, at first it wasn't a decision. It was just like try getting a loan or an investor in 2015 to sell Bitcoin for cash at ATMs and coffee shops. Like, it wasn't really an option. 2017, if I'm being honest, was probably the like biggest wake up moment where, you know, we didn't really, I don't think, take full advantage of the bull market that was 2017. Simply because we weren't set up to scale, and we didn't have, like you said, we were bootstrapped. We had to wait for the profits of January to be able to grow in February. We weren't able to front run all those profits and grow and expand. However, by way of going public, we did have something of that opportunity. And 2017 compared to 2020, the business was a lot healthier in 17 from 2020. Because when you start taking money, when you do that level of fiatness, you just adopt a fiat mindset, and you're forced to play fiat games, and you get fiat rewards. And so the last like 18, 24 months, we've really spent unfiating the business, and we are like a lean bootstrapped team. We're still publicly traded, but the way that we use our public vehicle, I think it's so important that we have a publicly traded Bitcoin super company, that is so focused on enabling independence so that our users, our customers can own what they love. Like I aspire to have somebody on the street tell me like, I use your platform, I love it, and I'm a shareholder. And it's like, to meet my business partners on the street like that is so special, and that they are able to see how hard I work and have a vote of confidence in me and in the team. And then to be able to meet them is just like, there's nothing more fulfilling than that. Like you said about children, like this is literally like a child, and we've been doing this for 10 years. We're not like, there are companies that have been around for shorter periods that are much bigger because they've taken the fiat way. And I am so thankful that we varied down the fiat path and then came back to the Bitcoin standard as an organization, because it is just the only way to run a business with longevity. And that's what we're here for. We want to enable independence. We know that Bitcoin is the maximum tool for independence. And that's what we are. We want to be an ecosystem of products and services that just make it easy to use Bitcoin. And it's like, it's pretty simple, but we're not going to be able to do that if we are, have our balls in someone else's pocket, so to speak. Or literally in some cases. So I think that going this route, allowing our customers to be our shareholders, while I still have ultimate, like I still hold like a big chunk, like from public company standards, I'm a majority shareholder. And so we've got a lot of ability to protect what we believe is right. Not veer down the like the flavor of the month scam, or like whatever this cycle is going to be. And I think it's very important. And I think if a Bitcoin entrepreneur is like, kind of going through it and figuring out how to do things, like just time preference is so important. My time preference was so high during the last bull cycle, and we have completely shifted. And the company today is way so much more healthier with a low time preference, understanding, what we are, what we do, who we're serving, and why we exist.
Beautiful, man. I feel it. Comes from the heart, man. Not only does it come from the heart, you put your money with your mouth where your mouth is, literally. I applaud you for it. And Adam, you and I are both very kind of similar age, and at this point, it's like we've spent like a third of our lives kind of doing this, and just surviving in the this crazy industry, which is Bitcoin. So we're super happy to partner with you guys and really support Bitcoin well and push forward the peaceful Bitcoin revolution, which is self-custody. And I think the Bitcoin Well platform is the platform in order to do that, because it is self-custody by default. So guys, check out bitcoinwell.com and check out their contest, which is live right now, bitcoinwell.com/contest. And we'll be giving away lots of
one last thing, Nico. Adam, can you give the people the deadlines for this and all that stuff so they know the full rules of when the jackpot ends?
The contest is open until the halving. So block 840,000 is the last. That's going to be it. It's like, what is it? April, what is it, like 9th or something like right now? But today, if you enter today, like right now on March, I don't know what the day is, March
7th.
If your entry comes in on March 7th, then you will be entered to win a signed copy of The Hidden Cost of Money by Seb Bunny. Seb's an incredible individual. I get to spend lots of time with him. Not so much recently because he's been traveling the world talking about this book. He was at Bitcoin Atlantis. He's incredible, and his book is revolutionary. He did a great job Trojan horsing the financial system by not mentioning Bitcoin. The only mention of Bitcoin is in the back cover. There's a little tiny Bitcoin symbol in the back, but the entire book is about Bitcoin without actually saying Bitcoin. It is so powerful, so incredible. enter right now. He's told me he'll sign a copy, ship it wherever you need it to go. So go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. You can make an account right from there and then enter the contest, or just if you already have an account, just use your points that are in your rewards and go enter. And if you don't have enough points, like if you onboard and make a purchase, you get like lots of points. But if you don't have enough, follow me and DM me on Twitter and I'll like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, follow Adam on Twitter, DM him questions about Bitcoin. You can also give him feedback about the platform itself. They want you guys involved. Help us build the first self-custody by default platform in the United States of America. Get involved, give your feedback. If there's stuff that you don't like, if there's stuff that you want to be improved, literally send Adam a DM.
Yeah, and actually, hey, on that note, so we've got a lot of good feedback about, and I saw some comments in the chat about the time delay between buying and Bitcoin. I want to explain how the whole like system works in like 2 minutes or less, and then what we're doing. So right now, when you send money to a platform, that money is received like, within a few hours, but the funds don't get released for sometimes like 5 or more days from the ACH, that like payment rail in the US. So what we've done is, because I'm so anal about making sure that when people buy Bitcoin, they get the Bitcoin. So we locked up those funds. We said, once you send Bitcoin, those funds are going to be in transit until they're released, and then you can buy Bitcoin. That was, I think, the wrong move. What we heard was we want people want to be able to get their Bitcoin right away, or people want to be able to at least like get rid of their fiat right away, understanding that the Bitcoin will hit self-custody once those funds are actually released. And so right now we're working, and just for reference, like yesterday I left the office at about 8 p.m. and I was not the last to leave. Like the boys are working on making this platform as amazing as possible. When your funds are credited, you'll be able to effectively buy Bitcoin, and then your Bitcoin will be in a pending state, ready for withdrawal once your funds land. And then the second those funds are released from the fiat banking world, it's going to be boom on the blockchain, TXID. You don't have to do anything. There's no like requesting withdrawals. You don't have to ask my permission to get your Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin are bought, ready for you, and then they will be sent to your address. The second I have confidence and our platform has confidence that the ACH banking system won't do anything dumb. So that's kind of what we're moving towards. So on the stuff on there, I'd love if you used it right now and then use it again like in a week. Tell me what the difference is if you prefer it. It's the community feedback has been incredible. Lean into that, please. We know this is Bitcoiners on this show. We want to make the best possible platform for Bitcoiners and ultimately by Bitcoiners. And so help us do that, please.
This is dope.
100%, guys. Get involved in the creation of this platform. Help push the revolution forward, which is self-custody. So give feedback to Adam, send him a DM, send me a DM. I've been getting plenty. Whatever that feedback is, send it to us, send it to Adam, and help us build the best self-custody platform possible, the only self-custody by default platform in the US right now. So I
like what Elaine said here, automatic self-custody. Let's go.
Ooh, I'm gonna take that.
Credit Elaine. Elaine,
Automatic.
DM me your well tag. You're getting points for that. You're getting some contest entries. That's awesome.
So guys, yes, sign up to the platform, enter the contest. By the way, guys, if you sign up for the platform, you got to still enter the contest, right? You still got to use those points that you get when you buy those Satoshis to enter the contest. It's not as simple as just signing up. You gotta do that as well. And opportunity to win the jackpot or the Sats pot, opportunity to win all this other, Bitcoin goodies and all that stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you have, smash that like button, consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. And of course, I want to thank our very special guest, the founder and CEO of Bitcoin Well, Adam O'Brien. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Appreciate it.
Watch this. Balloons.
Oh, wow. Very, 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 very fancy. Wait, we got one more question.
It's a comment.
Oh, okay. It's a comment. A comment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. Peace out, everybody.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.